Happy Wednesday, folks. I'm off to work. It's Q&A Wednesday day, sort of. Did you guys know that I post Q&A videos every couple of Sundays? It's a little bonus video that I do. If you'd know this, if you would tap the bell, you know, bell squad bro. Anyway, today's video is a common asked question about the Milwaukee 8 and the problems they're having. So, I'll get to work and we'll discuss.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is John Maxwell. I'm a highly trained unprofessional right here at Chattahoochee Harley Davidson. And on this channel, I bring you guys to work with me. So if you want to learn more about Harley Davidson, you should hit the subscribe button right now.
First up is transmission to primary fluid transfer. I actually tried to shoot this while I was working on this 17 limited low, but it was raining really hard, so the metal building, you wouldn't have been able to hear what I was saying. All you'd heard was rain. But that has been a huge deal. I get asked about it all the time. There is paperwork out on it, so I'll discuss that, what it is. Let's break down first, though, the whole engine primary transmission for those people that may not know that.
Quick breakdown of how Harley Davidson Big Twins are set up. The M8 engine, a dry sump system, meaning the 5-quart capacity is in the oil pan below the transmission, not inside the crankcase. The primary, short for primary drive, it's in its own housing as well, separate from the engine and the transmission, and it has its own capacity, a wet fill of 30 ounces, or a dry fill of 34 ounces. The transmission, it's in its own little housing, and the capacity is 32 ounces or 1 quart. I bring up the capacity of the 3 holes, as they're commonly referred to, for a few reasons. The first and most important part for you guys is that those capacities are for this bike, a 2017 Milwaukee 8. It might not be for your bike. So always, look at your owner's manual, your service manual, all that stuff, and make sure you're doing what your bike calls for, because they're all different. For example, this V-Rod, everything is within the same housing. Engine, primary, transmission, all right there, with a wet sump system that holds 5 quarts. On my XL, the engine, transmission, and primary are all in the same housing, but the transmission and the primary share the same oil, which is 1 quart as a matter of fact, and the engine is separate from that with a 3-quart capacity. Are you guys confused yet? Let's take a look at the shop computer and I'll explain more. So this is the shop computer that you always hear people talk about, to flash bikes and do all that other stuff that, I don't know, that's like the common question. Like, how do I install such and such? Well, you need the shop computer. Here it is. But, it does have the internet on it. So I can go to Harley Davidson's dealer network website. And like in all my other videos, I'm not actually going to show you the bulletin because some of the stuff is proprietary and we're not supposed to share it. Some of the stuff doesn't matter. What I will talk about is exactly what I would say to a customer at the service counter. Signing in, going to the section of stuff, because it's full of stuff, basically. All right, first one I've got is actually a tech tip.
And I got a trapper coming, man. 2 tires.
Oh, I'm about to punch you in the mouth.
Are you recording?
Yeah. Well, and I'm about to start over now because somebody busted up in here.
Were you really recording? You're recording.
Yeah, it's recording right now.
You're recording you working on the computer.
I'm talking about how you find this information. This is gonna last about, it was supposed to last, in the final video, it's gonna last about 15 seconds.
Okay.
Of me standing here.
Okay. You got that.
But I have to reshoot it because I haven't really even gotten it out. So the first one I come to is the one that you guys ask me about all the time. Transmission fluid transfer to the primary. Obviously, that's only a big twin issue since we just discussed the whole, capacity levels and what's connected to what on the other models. Now, my bulletin states that they're aware of some fluid transfer. It says instances where 5 ounces or more have transferred in less than 5,000 miles should be reviewed per the direction of this bulletin. Now, I would like to point out first that I've not actually had to have this conversation with a single customer because I've never even seen the problem. But I have had a few people email me about how their bike is exhibiting symptoms and they're a little perturbed about the initial fix for the whole thing. If you were to believe this to be a problem or a tech finds the issue to happen, well, the first step is to confirm fluid levels. I would do this by draining both the primary and transmission and filling to the proper levels. Once the levels are confirmed, then the bike needs to be ridden for about 1,000 miles. Obviously, a tech's not going to do that. So the bike gets given back to the customer and they're instructed to bring the bike back in about 1,000 miles without messing with fluid levels. A couple guys that I've talked to are pretty upset about that. That's pretty standard operating stuff across all manufacturers though. No one wants to replace parts that may or may not be messed up. You've got to confirm that there is in fact an issue. Because the Milwaukee 8 fluid level changed, the capacity level rather, well, it's highly likely that someone overfilled the primary and that's where the extra fluid in the primary came from. People are then concerned that there could be long-term damage to the transmission if they were to ride their bike while this is happening. Now, in an effort to explain how the transmission fluid level works and how that oil capacity changes and stuff like that, I have totally disassembled an entire motorcycle to show you the transmission. Transmission gear set. And a transmission housing. Also, obviously, I did not actually disassemble a motorcycle. This is it's an old case that had some metal contamination in it. It got damaged from something. Actually, warranty didn't want it and we're supposed to discard it, but I keep stuff like this just so that I can show you guys later. So basically, the way the oil works inside this transmission, all 32 ounces rests in here at the bottom. Then, this giant gear set, sitting in here like so, it won't actually fit all the way in there because the back bearing, it's broken. So all of these gears constantly spin all of the time, flinging that 32 ounces of oil all over everything else and getting into the bearings, the slider gears, the shift forks, all that stuff, so everything remains coated. Now, the difference between 5 ounces of oil inside a giant container like this is extremely minimal. So there wouldn't be any transmission trouble. If only I had a clutch pack to show you. Now the primary housing works kind of the same way. Oil just sits in there and everything that spins around throws oil on everything else. On this busted up clutch basket, this is most likely from a police bike. It's not abuse, not like problem with part so much as just they break things. Anyway, the capacity level would be right around here at the bottom. If oil gets too filled up into the clutch, then you start having trouble shifting and the clutch has trouble disengaging. Yeah, that's kind of the common, too full in the primary area. So now no parts get damaged, it's just annoying, and in 1,000 miles time, that's how you would know that something's going on. I don't know that 5 ounces would be enough to actually cause the problem. I think half the basket needs to be full, and that's for a different video. I'm all dirty. Clean them up a little bit so I can touch the camera and the computer and everything. So we got a joke around the shop though about the transmission guy. You know, people come in like, hey, I need the transmission guy. Well, there really isn't a transmission guy. Harley transmissions are incredibly easy, and well, they don't fail that often, so nobody does a lot of transmission work. I just thought you guys should know that. It's always our, hey, transmission guy. Yeah, you do one a year, maybe. Oh yeah, here's one. Rocker box on the M8. and get a visual aid for you guys. So a rocker box. The chrome piece is the lower rocker housing. The black piece is the upper rocker housing. The gasket in between the two, there's an updated part number for that. At some point, I don't know, they had an excess of leaks there, and Harley updated the part number. Pretty standard stuff. They replaced what we had in stock. If we find one leaking during a service, we replace it with the new updated part. Not too big of a deal, you know. I found out from Harley that there was a problem before I knew that there was a problem, because they were like, boom, right on top of it. Another one with M8 Softails though, there's a little clear plastic paint protectant right there to keep this brake line from contacting the frame. I never actually saw any of those missing, but they let us know, you know, like the first shipment of Softails might have been missing them. All of ours had it, so, you know, whatever. I should probably mention too, there might have been like 5 rocker box leaks that the whole shop has replaced, not just me, but all of us. So hardly a widely big issue considering all of the bikes that have been sold, you know, in the last 2 years. I get to sell out the Milwaukee 8 oil pump a lot. Yeah, there was a new one, came out. I don't know a ton about it, except that the M8 runs 2 different versions, one for twin-cooled models, one for oil-cooled models. There was a running change, which is, you know, not at the introduction of a model year. It's just at some point down the line, they started using a new part. I do know that the Stage 4s, you know, when you build one big, monstrous engine, they determined later on that the oil pump, the stock oil pump wasn't big enough. So I think, but don't know for sure, that the oil pump that they ended up putting in the Stage 4s, like you had to buy it separately to go in that engine in the beginning, I think they use that oil pump across the board now. I realize now I don't think I'm doing a very good job of explaining this. So what I'm trying to say is that the few issues we've seen with sumping is what it's called, what the internet is freaking out about. The only ones we've seen are Stage 4 twin-cooled motors, and there's a problem where the crankcase fills up with oil, the flywheel's trying to move through all this oil, and there's a loss of power. And well, so the handful of them that we've seen, we put the updated oil pump in and everything goes back to, you know, business as usual. Covered under warranty. That I'll get back to the rest in the actual video. Wait, this is the actual video. In what I've already recorded, I'm going to talk about the warranty and all that stuff. I just wanted to make sure that we all understood I was talking about sumping, and that it's on a few particular bikes that we've seen it on, not all Milwaukee 8s. Yeah. Here it is. It's not as big of a concern as the internet may have you believe, which is the same with everything else we've talked about. I think everything's been blown way out of proportion, and that's why so many people ask me about it. I haven't really seen that many issues on the new engines, really. I think the most important question I get asked about it is, would I buy a Milwaukee 8? The only reason why I have not bought a Milwaukee 8 is because I don't have the money. If you guys want a Milwaukee 8, you should get one. The few issues we've seen arise, they're all covered under warranty. The whole like warranty freakout thing that's going on over the internet, I haven't seen an increase in questions and denied claims and things like that. It's just not as big a deal as everybody seems to think. Speaking of my own finances and a Milwaukee 8 motorcycle though, I kind of have some big news. Over the next few days, I'm going to be, well, basically doing a service to my own Sportster, you know, because I couldn't possibly find time to do all of it at one time. So, you know, through lunch breaks and stuff. I think it's probably time I don't know, change the oil, do a full service. It's at almost 40,000 miles. Yeah, Sportster, it's officially for sale. So you can look for that video too. I don't want to like overtake this one. So I'm gonna spend the rest of my day changing oil. Yeah, this should go well. So the rain went away, the sun came out and it dried up. I swear it's like we live in Florida now. Like every day for weeks it's rained at like 3 o'clock. The rain goes away, the sun comes out, and then it's fine again. But whatever. So I still gotta finish on the Sportster, but that's it for the M8 problems video. Like I want an M8, I'm getting one. You heard it here first. Well, I don't know. So I mean, the internet's not all bad, but in some instances they tend to overreact. Say the internet like it's one person. It's a lot of people. Anyway, if you like this video, guys, give it a big dirty thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Tap that bell notification so that you know when I'm uploading. You know, there's like bonus videos and stuff. And through the dealer show week that's in like 1 month from, well, about 1 month from when you're seeing this, hopefully going to be uploading a lot during that week. You know, shorter videos on the lineups and all that stuff. So that's my channel news. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.